In this episode of Vikings Season 5B, Episode 15, we have basically Floki and Flatnose discussing what they should do in regards to Ivan's family. As we know, Ivan's family was banned from the Iceland settlement for having a role and being responsible for what I believe was Flatnose's daughter's death. So we have one of Ivan's sons, I believe, the only son left. I forgot honestly because I really don't care about the storyline. But he comes back during like the dead of winter. His hands are like frostbitten, and I think Floki cuts off at least one or two of them. He's begging Floki to forgive the family for what they've done, and that Ivan's truly repentful for what he's done. So Floki has a conversation with Flatnose about what they should do, and he leaves it up to Flatnose. And Flatnose's like, well, if they come back and if they're truly repentant, sorry for what they did, then I'll forgive them. In regards to the whole Wessex storyline, we have Alfred officially sign off the lands of East Anglia to Ube, Bjorn, and their Viking people. I think Alfred even joined them. Actually, came with them to the settlement. Besides that, we have this interesting interaction between Bjorn and Gunhild. And remember, Gunhild is the former wife of Earl Orlson, one of the guys that Ivar left in charge of York, and he betrayed Ivar, and he was going to basically side with Harold, and they were going to raid, Kattegat, but he died during the battle, I believe like an episode ago. So, whatever. Back to what I was talking about. So, Gunhild and Bjorn have this interesting conversation. Bjorn talks about how she's very impressive, considering she was able to kill Bishop Heckman, who's a great Saxon warrior. And she said basically she was just real, straight to the point. She was like, well, he was already basically dead. I just finished him off. Bjorn basically asked her, did she see what happened to his mother after that? And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of like where your mother went and all that stuff. So they have this interesting conversation, I believe. And I like about how like she's that he's very famous, and that her hands are tied up, and that he can do what he wants with her. And Bjorn's like, nah, I could, but I don't really want to. So he cuts her free, and he says, you're a free woman. You're my equal. So what are you going to do? So she proceeds to slap the holy shit out of Bjorn. And it was just hilarious. And it's just like, he just seemed like he was turned on by that. Just like, what was that for? She was like, just want to test out my freedom. You can go now. It was hilarious. So he leaves. After that, we have this interesting scene with King Harold and Magnus making their way over to York. And basically, the people are not too pleased, especially a certain gentleman who was very tall. And he was saying how basically how foolish King Harold was to get duped by Bjorn Ironside and Ube, and how he came back defeated, a loser, and that they shouldn't be taking orders from a loser, an idiot. So Harold's like, listen, I used to be your age, and I used to think the same way you do, but as you get older, you learn that you win and you lose. But you should give your leaders a chance to prove themselves again, at least give them a second chance. But Harold was already wary about how things were going to go down, so it seemed like he was preparing himself. The dude made a move, him and his little men, and Magnus and Harold just cut them to fucking shreds. And Harold had this really good speech about how he wants to extend, the Viking Empire, making York a great city. And he did a really good round, like really good, what's the word? He did a really good rallying the troops, if you will. Besides that, in terms of Kattegat, we have Visick, meaning this, seemed like a Chinese guy. And he has this Buddha, little toy, whatever, or like wooden crap. So he's talking about the Buddha, and Visick's really intrigued by it. And he even talks about it with Thora, about how there's only, the one. And as we know in this season, Visick's very confused. He's trying to figure out what's, his purpose, why is he with Ivar, why did he jump ship? The seer gone, not really telling, his guide is basically gone. He's trying to figure everything out on his own. And I thought that was pretty interesting how it seemed like he's starting to get to the point now which he's like, the whole concept of like fate and all that. It was just really, I'll explain more in a different video. But in regards to that, we have this conversation between him and Ivar. And Ivar's like saying, like, you're acting kind of crazy. Vince is like, I'm acting crazy. It was just like, Vince is just like, me the crazy one compared to you. It was just like he was taken aback, like, wow, wow. Besides that, I believe in this episode, the only thing left is to talk about the death of Aethelred. So, Aethelred and Judith had a conversation about the whole Alfred betrayal thing. Now, as we know, Alfred already knows about the betrayal of his brother from his mother, and Alfred chose to forgive him for that. And Judith is like, "Why would you betray your brother?" And Aethelred tells her exactly why, and it's the same thing that's started, I believe, in season 5. It's the fact that Judith always favored Alfred over Aethelred. She always disrespected Aethelred, treated him like a second fiddle when it came to Alfred. And he had every right to feel a little angry about it and even sort of contemplate betrayal, even though it was the wrong thing to do. He had every right to feel that way, especially since his mother hasn't really been much of a mother to him. It seems like the only child she's really been a mother to, is Alfred. So he explained that to her. So when Alfred gets sick after visiting the new Viking settlement in East Anglia, and by the way, I thought it was really interesting the whole Bjorn scene with Gunhild when it came to the settlement. It seemed like they were really bonding because when everyone was entering the church, Bjorn was like, I can't go in there, and Gunhild's like, you're right, they worship false gods. Seemed like they really started to connect, you know what I mean? Like they really started to fall for each other in a way. And even the next day, which Bjorn was like, you know what? I lost my mother, I lost my father, and it's kind of ironic that I lose both of them, yet I achieved my father's dream. And despite that, I can't be here. Like, this is not what I'm meant to be. I'm supposed to be the king of Caget, and I have to take Caget back from Ivar some way, somehow. And Gunhild's like, well, in order for you to do that, you're going to need an army. And Bjorn's like, well, I'll get it from King Harold. And she told Bjorn that King Harold was planning on attacking Ivar anyways with her husband, who was a good man, by the way. But, her husband died. And she says that it's probably a good chance that Harold might join up with Bjorn and give him the army, but he might kill him beforehand. And Bjorn's kind of like, whatever. But before I get to like that ending, I'm going to finish up talking about the whole Alfred situation. So Alfred got sick, like I mentioned before, and basically, you know how Judith could be a control freak when it comes to Alfred. And Aethelred was like, listen, stop trying to take control of everything. Stop trying to boss me around. Don't worry about my allegiance. Just stay out of my way. I'll worry about Alfred. I'll take care of my brother. So I think that was kind of a tipping point in when she kind of went insane. When she literally is like kind of gone mental with the whole poisoning, Aethelred. So when Aethelred gets poisoned, he looks at his mother's like, what kind of mother are you? And then dude's head just hits the table. Bam! Dead. And then she holds him in her arms, sort of like one of those like Renaissance like statues of Mary, holding Jesus. It was a very symbolic kind of gesture. Besides that, to end this review, we have Bjorn and Gunhild making it to King Harold's kingdom. But here's the thing, though. I don't know, like, if they're, like, back, in King Harold's kingdom or they're in York still. Maybe they're most likely still in York. Either way, they meet up with them, and Bjorn's like, yo, I want your army. And King Harold's like, so, Bjorn, you made it back. I wonder what you got to say. You want my army? You know what I mean? He's kind of like whatever about it. So, this is all I got, you guys. If I miss anything, write down below in the comments. I'm kind of sorry this review was like 10 minutes. I try to make it 5, but whatever. But once again, Josh Vision, adios.